All right, well, welcome back to the channel. I'm about to do another controlled regen. So I am just miles away from my next regen, and it'll be 501 miles, and it'll be fully controlled. And I'm just gonna kind of walk you through it again, and how I know when I'm in regen. So this is my maintenance screen. As you can see, I'm at 90% full on my diesel exhaust filter. Now, when I get ready to do a regen at 30,399 miles, I will go over here to the settings, and you'll see auto regen is not clicked, right? It's not turned on. And you can see, hold on, you can see that it's the DPF filter, like, monitor icon, whatever. It says, you see there, it says off. That's because I have auto regen turned off. So that icon tells you if you have auto regen turned on or off. Another way that when I turn this on, how I know it goes into regen is this. You see where it's those two right corner numbers, and they're in red? Well, that's the EGR. That's EGR commanded A duty cycle and actual EGR A duty cycle. So when I turn on regen, when I enable the regen, the EGR will go to 0. That's how you know when the truck is in regen. And then you'll see the exhaust gas temperatures begin to rise. And just for everyone's understanding and situation awareness, it takes a few miles before your exhaust gas temperatures gets up to like 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm going to show you that. But yeah, so we've got a few miles, and so it's going to be a few minutes actually. But I just wanted to do another video while I'm on the road and I'm driving home from South Carolina. I guess I can show you my fuel mileage right now. You can see that I'm at 695 miles to the tank, right? Or whatever, right? So far I've driven 70 miles, and my truck is reading 24.8 miles to the gallon. And yes, I'm doing 65 miles an hour. So when I fill up at the pump, if I wasn't going into regen, most likely after this 140, 150 mile trip, I'd probably be around, I don't know, 25 to 27 miles to the gallon, maybe, something like that. But because I'm about to go into regen, well, that's gonna significantly kill my fuel mileage. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, so I'll just kind of stay with you guys a little bit. It's gonna get kind of boring, but you know, this is just all for, you know, your situation, to give you guys knowledge, and that's important. You know, when I search for vehicles and I want to buy a new vehicle, and I'm thinking about it again, buy a vehicle every year, but I like to research. I like to know what I'm getting myself into, you know. But I'm thinking about buying a new truck, but I'm probably not. So I think this is gonna be my it truck, but you know, we'll see. So anyway, just kind of hang out. I'll just kind of have the screen just kind of up, and you guys can just kind of hang out with me. Sorry if the screen's bouncy. I don't have a GoPro. I'm recording this on my phone, so you can see the. I don't know if you can see the gauges there, but my exhaust gas temperature sensor 1 is reading 520-ish degrees Fahrenheit. Exhaust gas temperature 2 is 502. Exhaust gas temperature 3 is around 450, 458-ish. And the last exhaust gas temperature number 4 is around 480 degrees Fahrenheit. You can see the duty cycles for the EGR. You can see it's cycled, commanded is about 24% open. And then the actual is you know, reading almost the same. got a few more miles before I go into auto regen. Oh, I'm sorry, commanded regen, or controlled regen, not auto. I'm going to turn on auto. So technically right now, if I had the truck in auto regen, if I had it enabled, the truck would be in regen right now, because it actually regens at around 497, 96 miles ish. That's the average, 500 mile mark limit. It never actually goes to exactly 500 miles, but now that I control the regens, I can control it. So anyways, so we're getting close. I'm at 30,398.5 miles. I'm gonna move this over now to auto regen, and once it hits 30,399 miles, I will turn this on, and you'll see the EGR go to 0, and you'll begin to see the exhaust gas temperatures begin to rise. So almost there. And boom, auto regen turned on, and now you see the EGR goes to 0. So we are now in regen. So I'll hang out just for a few miles so that you guys can see the exhaust gas temperatures begin to rise. You can see already exhaust gas temperature 1 is at 600 degrees plus Fahrenheit and continuing to rise. And as is, I have the exhaust gas temperature color setting at 582 degrees. When it gets beyond that, that's when I know it's in a regen. That's when I know that the regen's working, and it'll turn the color code the temperature is red. So there's exhaust gas temperature number 2. That's the one that's in between the DOC and the SCR. And this is why I believe that the DPF needs to be right behind the DOC, not after the SCR. It takes a minute for the DPF to get real hot. You can see that the exhaust gas temperature number 1 and number 2 are getting hot. I mean, look at that, 700 plus degrees Fahrenheit, 800 degrees Fahrenheit exhaust gas temperature number 2. And that makes sense, because anything after the DOC is going to get really, really hot, because diesel fuel is being injected in the exhaust stroke, and it goes all the way down to the DOC. The job of the DOC is to take that diesel fuel, and the diesel fuel heats the DOC, superheats it, or whatever, gets it real hot. And then after the DOC, temperatures are going to be in between, I don't know, 1,000 to 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit, or more, just a little bit more. I think I've seen this thing almost get to 1,300, but anyways, you can see exhaust gas temperature number 3. This is the one right in between the SCR and the DPF, and it's now at 690 degrees Fahrenheit and rising. Now it's 700. So we know now that the DPF is getting the heat that it needs. So we should see exhaust gas temperature number 4 begin to rise as it's getting heated right now. And there it is. So exhaust gas temperature number 4 is now 600 plus degrees Fahrenheit. The mileage now, we've gone about 2 miles. So yeah, it takes roughly about 2 miles for the exhaust to get hot. What you'll notice is in exhaust gas temperature number 1, it really doesn't go beyond 800 degrees. It stays under 800 degrees Fahrenheit for the most part. But again, everything after the diesel oxidation catalyst, which is exhaust gas temperature 2, 3, and 4, you will see get really hot. And again, this just kind of shows why I really believe the DPF needs to be directly behind the DOC. That way it stays the hottest. Alright, so exhaust gas temperature number 4 is now above 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, so we're in regen. This will last, I don't know, anywhere between 15 and 20 minutes. I think the longest I've gone is, I don't know, I don't remember, maybe 22, 23 miles, or 22, 23 minutes, something like that. So I'm not going to hang out for the entire time because I need to monitor my DPF. So when the EGR turns back on, that's when I know the DPF, the regen is complete. And another way you can tell, let me scroll over here, go back to my maintenance. You'll see that the diesel exhaust filter, it'll go from 90%, oh, it just went to 85. It'll continue to drop. When it gets to about 15%, that's when I know it's almost done. When it hits 10% and I go maybe, I don't know, like a mile or two down the road, the regen will stop. But that doesn't mean that it's not regenning. It just means that there's no more fuel being injected into the exhaust stroke. The EGR is turned back on, but the DPF is still very, very hot. It's still over 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and it'll just continue to regen, and it'll go all the way down to 0. So, and that's good. I think that's good. You know, the truck will automatically stop regen at about 10%, because it knows that it doesn't need to waste fuel going all the way to 0, because the exhaust filter is still well above 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. But yeah, so that's kind of how I monitor all this, and yeah, so there's a look at the exhaust gas temperatures again. You can see the EGR is 0, it's not budging. That's how you know when you're in regen, when the EGR is turned off, it's completely turned off. And why is that? Well, you don't want to introduce cooled air or cooled exhaust into the engine, because the engine's trying to get hot. It's trying to get that DPF like really hot. So you don't want to introduce cooled air into the engine. So that's, at least that's what I think, why it turns off. You know, and it makes sense to me. But see, the exhaust filter is now at 80%. You saw it was at 90. We started at 90, went to 85. Now it's at 80%, and it'll continue to drop. So, but anyways, that's about it. Again, so when the regen is finished, I will wait for the exhaust gas temperatures to get to about, 500 degrees, and then I will turn off auto regen. So I don't like to turn it off until the exhaust gas temperatures are normal, the normal driving temps. So that's just to ensure that, I don't know, I'm just weird like that. I don't want to stop a regen, even though I know it's stopped, but I don't know, I'm weird like that. So anyways, I hope that video has been informative, and I will do a 30,000 mile review shortly. So I'll get that up on the screen, up on the channel for y'all to take a look at the truck. But ain't much, not a whole lot to report, because ain't no issues. So, all right, see you in the next video.